Welcome to the Sushi Swap MISO AMA, where we bring on projects that have launched through the MISO Token Factory. Check out past, present, and future auctions at miso.sushi.com. I'm here today with Ethan from Mars4. How are you today?
I'm very good, Tangle. Lovely to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming on today to kind of break down a bunch of things here for us with Mars4. Everyone that's in the audience will be open to taking questions, of course, from the AMA text questions that from that channel, and or put your hand up, and happy to have you come up on stage for you to ask your questions that way. And I'll kind of open it up in about 10 or 15 minutes to some questions from the stage. And so if you do have a question, just kind of give it a little bit, and we'll bring you up there. Right out of the gate here. Thanks, Ethan. And maybe just like give us a quick little intro and some background and involvement that you've got with Mars4 right now.
Definitely. So, I'll start with an introduction to myself before we kind of move on to the project and so on. So my avatar's name is Ethan, and this is my character within the Mars4 metaverse within the world. In my day job in the real physical world, I'm currently the Chief Revenue Officer for Mars4. So my role covers everything around the NFT economy, NFT sales. I've helped a little bit with investor relations and so on during the private sale. And I'll also be involved in developing some of the new NFTs and the new in-game items and the economy we're building around that. So I guess you could say from my role, I have a good amount of interaction with the venture capital investors and that side of the business. I also have a good overview of the commercial side and the revenue side. Less so on the technical side, but I think I've got that bird's eye view of the project that'll be able to hopefully answer any of the questions that come up in any of those areas.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh. And maybe just to share a little bit about my background. So I'm coming
please.
from about 10 years in the technology space. So working at companies like LinkedIn, I joined them before their IPO. I've also worked for Microsoft and Salesforce. So really been in the tech space for quite a while. And it was during that period that I started privately investing first into Bitcoin, then into Ethereum, and then actually met the other team members, the co-founders that we're working with on Mars4 now, back during the last market cycle. So we got together, we invested and advised several projects back in 2017, 2018. We had some success there, but when the bear market came, we kind of were suffering like everybody else. So we all went back to our different roles. I went back to work at Salesforce. Some of the other guys went back to work at their businesses. But it was really about 18 months ago, or just over a year ago now, during the DeFi summer, when we started seeing these real world use cases for crypto again. First of all, DeFi, secondly, NFTs. And then when we saw the metaverses and the play to earn games like Axie and so on, and Decentraland really coming up and coming into their own, that's when we realized, okay, guys, it's time to get the band back together and to build something really ambitious, really huge. And that's what's brought us here today. So it's been quite a journey over the past 18 months.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool. So like maybe talk about the I guess a little more on the inspiration for colonizing or fractionalizing Mars with NFTs and all this.
Well, yeah, definitely. So we're all nerds at heart, I guess you could say, as with many people who find their way into this industry. And so for us, we always had a fascination with space, and we also had an interest and a fascination with metaverses. So I may be revealing our ages here, but two members of our team, they actually built the first marketplace on Second Life. So Second Life was a pre-crypto metaverse, a virtual world where people could go in there and live their lives, probably like an earlier version of Decentraland. There was no tokens involved back then, but there was an economy around this Linden dollar, and people were able to build property, to have architects design property on their land, to run businesses there, to have galleries, all those things that are so common now in the metaverses that we have, but were quite new then. So we had this the expertise in our team of the metaverse world. We also have a lot of science fiction nerds and so on, people who had read Ready Player One, and before that Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. So we saw that the time was right, the technology was here, the community was here, and moreover, it could be something that could be powered by Ethereum. So we had the means to actually create an economy. So I think the stars kind of aligned. Also, when we were starting this, there was a public fascination with going to Mars, going to space, through Elon Musk, through Virgin Galactic, and so on. And when we started this was when Elon Musk was still a good guy. It was before he started tweeting about Bitcoin and crashing the overall market. So yeah, when we started, Mars was still cool. Elon was cool, and our popularity kind of took a hit when the market went down. And but then we've more than recovered from that.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we were doing Mars before Mars was cool, and while Mars was still cool.
Absolutely. And we were still doing Mars when Mars was uncool. So everything goes in circles.
Yeah, that's cool. And hearing like some all the way back to Second Life as well. That's cool to have involvement from there. And that's like obviously one of the biggest metaverses. That may not be a familiar word for a familiar place for people in here. But that's super cool. It gives a good understanding of like what, a good basis of like where things came from and where they're potentially could head. And that's awesome. Then I don't know, maybe just like give us a quick overview of how this, just a quick elevator pitch on how Mars4 works, what it's going to do, and involvement for people and what they can. Yeah, just a brief little elevator. Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely. So at its core, Mars4 is a metaverse. So what we've built and what we're building is a virtual world on Mars. So we've already built out the layer one of that. And that layer one is a geographically exact, as close as possible, 3D virtual representation of Mars using data from NASA and other space agencies. And we've used that then to build out the topography and all of those features. Then we've taken that world, we've divided it into just under 100,000 NFTs. So each of these NFTs represents an equal portion of land on Mars. Well, I should say most of them are equal. So there's 99,888, and 888 of these NFTs are rare or super rare, and they're larger in size, and they would represent features like the mountains and the craters on Mars. So for example, the biggest one is Olympus Mons, and then we've got various craters and so on around that. So they're not currently for sale, but what we've found is people, when we opened up the standard NFTs for sale, people were buying as close as they could as possible to these rare and super rare ones, just in anticipation that they may have superior properties when the game is launched. So as I mentioned, we're holding back those rare and super rare for sale, and we'll probably be doing that through the various NFT marketplaces like OpenSea, Rarible, as well as the digital arms of some of the big auction houses like Christie's and so on. So that's at a very high level. And then what we wanted to do is we wanted to build in some revenue generating characteristics into this land. So just like if you own real estate in the real world, you can earn an income, a yield on that. Or if you invest in bonds, they're not very fashionable now, but you can earn a nice stable yield. So this yield from the Mars from the Mars NFTs, it's derived from a transaction fee that's going to be placed on all of the token transactions of the Mars dollar within that virtual world. So just to take a step back, there's two digital tokens here. One is the Mars Land NFT. The other is the Mars dollar, which is the currency. It's an ERC20 token. It's the currency that will be used within the game, within the metaverse. And it's also the token that we've just completed our private sale for, and then our public and semi-private sales on the on the MISO Launchpad.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so that's at a high level. We can go into more detail on what's going to be built on top of this layer one later on.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Maybe just why Mars 4? What's with the name there? How does that work? And yeah, just kind of give that a little light to that.
That's a very good question. So basically, Mars is the fourth planet from the sun. And we wanted really to basically differentiate ourselves from any other, project or any other activity around Mars, because Mars is such a popular world and people are building games around it. There's all kinds of fiction and real activity going on there. So we thought by just putting that number in there, it really makes it ours, and it really makes it unique and stand out. And of course, it's a question everyone asks. It piques the interest. Why Mars 4? Why not just Mars, or why not just Mars Metaverse? And I guess it's short and snappy as well. So yeah, this is why there's not too much science into the naming.
Yeah, all good. That's it's clever. That's nice. And then just with the representation of Mars, the visual representation. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to head over to their site and explore the representation of Mars. Where did you get that data from? How does that how is that like powered, working? Like that looks really cool to be able to just take a look at Mars, scroll around, see these different plots. Yeah, super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We'd even share the link in the chat. But yeah, so that data it's coming from NASA, and it's publicly available through an organization called Argus. So we were able to then get access to their data, their core data, and then use that. It's open source, and then to use that then to build the base layer of our world. That then we've simply just taken that and put that into added our own components on top of that. And then we did take some other data imagery from some of the other space agencies where they had that publicly available as well. And actually, we'll continue to improve this as more and more data is released on Mars. Whether that's visual or beyond, we'll be looking to enhance our virtual world when that happens. Yeah, so I think it's really exact as it is, and then it will increase in that. So if you think like 10-15 years ago, when Google started with Google Maps, then Google satellite imagery, then Google Street View. So we really want to keep building those layers of realism into this world. And then we'll talk about play to earn and the gaming parts later on. But look, eventually we want it to be, when it's completely built out, that you slip on your virtual reality headset, your Oculus, and explore this picture perfect high resolution version of Mars. We're quite some time from there, but that's kind of the vision.
Boom, into Mars VR. No, Elon, I am not interested in hopping on a one-way trip to Mars. I am just going to strap in and into my headset and enjoy Mars from the comfort of my my returnable home of my two.
Well, that's the vision, isn't it? Because eventually people are going to have to go out there and work on Mars to do the mining and all that, and so it's either going to be humans or it's going to be robots. But for now, we can explore that virtually. So yeah, that's going to be quite cool. But of course, look, so the geography, the ground, everything like that is going to be always accurate and exact. But we're building, a game world, a virtual world on top of this. So if you can imagine Decentraland on Mars, if you can imagine, people are, well, at the start, people are going to have to be doing the basics, building biodomes, terraforming the land, producing oxygen, mining the land, the resources. But eventually, we wanted to have a completely built out, livable cities and so on. Layers and layers of civilization built on top of that. And what's really cool is that no matter how advanced this world gets, the people who own that piece of land now, where it's just a barren piece of dust, eventually they will own that land, whatever's built on top of that, and control all of the economic activity that happens there. So yeah, look, we're looking at this as like a 10, 20, even 30-year project. So these early landowners are in a really good position to benefit from all of the real economic activity that's going to be happening in this world, denominated by the Mars dollar.
There you go. Very cool. Very cool. We've got a way that's looking for a question. had their hand up for a while. Away, if you see that, hit the accept button, either up on the top of your screen or away. Have you got away? No. Okay. All good. Thought. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah. Anyways, if you're trying to get back up here again, away, or anybody else that's looking to ask questions, please raise your hand. There is the hand button down at the bottom. Just hop on that way, and we'll try to get you up here. We've got William.
Definitely welcome any questions on the stage. Be happy to have a chat. Oh, I see Williams.
Hello, Williams.
Just joined.
Hello. Hello,
Williams. How are you doing?
Yeah, we got you. You go ahead.
Okay, cool. I want to ask the number of the NFT. Does it means that the number? How to say that? So far, we could find Mars4. They have been 100,000. Near 100,000 NFT sale on Mars4.me, and I'm not sure the ID of each NFT would be. Is it means that the ID number, like the ID 500 is more valuable than the ID 50,000.
I think I understand your question. So all Mars Land NFTs are equal, right? So there's 988,000, so just under 100,000. So they're all equal, apart from those 888 rare and super rare. But so those ones will have special characteristics. They're not for sale now, and if they do sell, they'll be selling for hundreds of thousands, or for Olympus Mons it could be in the millions. But so the normal land, it doesn't matter where it is on the planet, it doesn't matter what your number is, you will get the same share of the transaction fee from the game world. So every transaction that happens on the Mars dollar token, 2% of that is going to be divided between the Mars land owners, basically.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I just want to check. Is this mean rare or not for the number of ID? Because I found the number before 1,000 have been occupied or reserved, or the owner is Mars. Yeah, so I'm not sure the rule of it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so those ones you see where the owner is Mars, those are the super rare, and they're not for sale yet. So what's very likely is that we're going to finish sales of all of the normal land and then move on to selling these rare and super rare. So you've still got time. We've sold just over 50,000 of the normal land, so around just under half of the normal land is left remaining. Yeah, so you still have time. You can literally go to that explorer that we linked into, and you can buy self-service through the e-commerce there. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, Williams, and thanks for that.
Yeah, could I ask one more question? Yeah, because I have already checked in some address and found the address have already mint a lot of Mars NFT, and I'm not sure so far is it only one way to get NFT on Mars4.me, and we only can purchase to get an NFT.
So right now, the only way to get the Mars land NFTs is to go through the link that was that I just shared from the web.
Mars4.me, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you go there, you click on Explore, you see the online shopping cart, and that's completely self-service. If you're paying in Ethereum or USDT or USDC, If you want to
Yeah.
purchase in another crypto like Bitcoin or Binance BEP20s, you'll need to contact the team and they can support you. So we have got a back office team that's helping, but we're trying to automate as much of it as possible.
Yeah, very appreciated. Yeah, and your tutorial is very useful. Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome anytime. Happy to help. Happy to help.
Thanks,
Thank
William.
you.
Thanks, Williams. Appreciate it. Okay, away. Let's try to get you up here again. All right, away. If you're looking to hop up here, there is I think there's like a button up at the top of your Discord window that says accept, or maybe another thing somewhere for you to come up here. If not, we've got Zai as well, looking to hop up here. Yeah. There we are.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, there you are.
Can you hear me?
You bet. Go ahead.
We can hear you well.
Okay, gotcha. So here's a little questions about the Mars4, as I checked the Mars4's Twitter and found that there's a picture that the Mars4 is being put in like the Decentraland or the Sandbox, and I know that is the Metaverse project. But also I think that the Decentraland or like Sandbox, they have no incentives. So so the Mars4 have a better incentives like the token distributions or something else. But I think that is there another incentives to be to enhance the whole community or just a whole metaverse? Thank you.
No, that's a very good question, and we're absolutely thinking about this, and we're looking at all of the best minds and the best projects in the space. So you're right, the likes of the Sandbox and the likes of Decentraland, it's really cool, and so it's fun to go there and explore, or crypto voxels even. You can go mess around, talk to your friends, hang out, whatever, build stuff. So we will have that as the base layer, so people will be building their civilization on Mars. But where we are going to make it more interesting and more exciting is where we take all of the best characteristics from the likes of Axie Infinity, from the likes, I don't know if people are aware of Star Atlas. It's one of the hottest play to earn gaming games now on the Solana blockchain. But what they've done is really, really cool. So basically, their game is going to be completely play to earn, space exploration, and so on. But they're bringing in different things like spaceships with bonding curves and so on, which we also have for our land. So we're on top of this virtual world that's like, let's say, Decentraland and Mars. We're building lots of play to earn games, and it won't just be one game. We're looking at many games, many mini games. Even people in their own land will be able to have games, and those games will all require the Mars dollar as the currency of that. So I can reveal some. So just to tell you where we are. So we're in the process now of doing deals with several big gaming studios. So we're talking to many gaming studios all around the region. For example, Stepaco, who are quite close to our HQ in Lithuania. They're in Ukraine. They've built Guild of Guardians. We're also looking at hiring in more gaming people ourselves. And we're even looking at acquisitions, buying games that are out of title and so on, then bringing them into Mars. But anyway, let's talk about the first game that we're looking at. So it's going to be some kind of a strategy game, a bit like Fallout Shelter, if people are familiar with that. Simple graphics and everything, but it's going to be really about you're a bunch of humans, you've come to Mars. How do you go about making it habitable? So it's going to be around things like mining for resources, then trading those resources with your neighbors for Mars dollars in order to get all the equipment that you need to build your biodome to make it habitable. Then it's going to be about, okay, how much energy do we need to produce oxygen? When we have oxygen, how do we produce food? And let's say one place is doing really well in mining, but they can't produce food. They can trade with the neighbors. They can buy the food from the neighbors and then sell their iron ore or their metal or their copper or their oxygen that they've mined and produced on their land and so on. So what we want to do is make this real world economy. We know it's not easy, and we know there's a lot of really good play to earn games that are already live, and there's even more coming this year and next year. So we're really looking to use the funds from our private sale and our very successful public sale on MISO, or ID launch on MISO. We're looking to use those funds to really hire the best minds in the business and to really build something fast that's going to be very, very good. And the great thing is we've a huge amount of land, a huge amount of territory on Mars. So within that, we can have many different games and we can experiment through trial and error. And but yeah, we're really conscious that we've got a huge amount of interest now just based on the land. But if we can make it compelling for people to come there and play, not just for entertainment, but to earn those Mars dollars, that's where things get very exciting.
Wow, so that's just very amazing. That is so much complex than a metaverse, and I think that I will support your project further. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to meeting you on Mars, so I'll see you there.
See you on Mars. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, Zai, for coming up. And yeah. Let's see, who else have we got here? Away, I don't know. That's for whatever reason, it's not working to get you up here. But
maybe stage fright, a little bit shy.
Yeah, stage fright or technical issues, all good. Yeah, cool. So yeah, you kind of broke down a little bit of the what's going on here with the tokens and everything. Having the Mars4 token, it's currently through MISO right now, or just finished up here. Where are we at? We just finished, right? Or just still a little bit left?
We just finished up. Yeah, we just finished up overnight. So that was a tremendous success. I think it was over 1,400, almost 1,500 Ether raised, which completely exceeded our expectations. It's blowing our mind. Like, to be honest, we can't comprehend this. But we just have to say a huge thank you to MISO and for guiding us in the right way to do it. So the way we structured it is through 2 batch auctions. One batch auction was open to the general public. The other batch auction was open only to the Mars4 NFT holders, the community. So ultimately, it was set up so that the community would get a better price than the public. And then, I think if the numbers are correct, I think we launched at around 1 cent, and I think we more than 12x'd on the first day of launching. So it's really, really, we couldn't be more grateful to you guys for the partnership for this launch and the advice on how to structure it and the execution, and really exceeded our expectations. So so I think 14x growth for the general round. For the community round, it was 12x and 1,463 Ether raised. So I think that puts us in a really, really good position now to really go out there to put this capital to work and to build fast and aggressively and to be one of the most compelling, most interesting metaverses out there. So really exciting times and a really good result for us on MISO.
Awesome. Happy to hear that. And that, overall, it sounds like a very, very positive turnout. And colonizing Mars. Here we go. With some of the, as we move into the rarity stuff of certain NFTs in the land parcels, what are some of the extra features and whatnot? Are some of the things that people could look forward to for rarity? And why would some be are there more out of the 888 or 888? Are there more rarities within certain ones, or are those ones all equally rare?
So the great thing about the rare and the super rare NFTs on in the Mars world is that they've got a couple of different things that make them valuable. The first is the beauty or the coolness factor. Like Olympus Mons is the biggest mountain on Mars. It's also the biggest mountain in the solar system out of every planet. It's a giant shield volcano. So that looks really, really cool now in 2D. So whoever owns that will be able to flex and show that off from their MetaMask or whatever wallet. Also, it's going to look really cool in 3D in the game. So there's that element, the kind of the coolness or fine art element. But then the other element is going to be the size, because each of those larger NFTs, it's made up of a significant number of the normal NFTs. So it'll have more income, more yield, when that's being divided. Also, we're potentially looking at putting some multipliers into them, so they'll be generating even more revenue than the physical land mass they take up. Then the other part is that they are going to have additional properties and values in the play to earn gaming. Now, I can't reveal too much now without getting into trouble here, but basically, when I alluded to things like in the core of the game, a lot of it at the start, is going to be around mining these resources, creating this value, and the trading and so on. So these rares and super rares are going to be imbued with special properties, more resources. So you might find that, for example, Olympus Mons, because it's a volcano, it's got more of the metals and precious metals under there that'll be needed. Some of the craters might have meteorite dust or other things like that. So there definitely are going to be special elements within each of the different rares and super rares within the game. So yeah, I think it's going to be around the beauty and uniqueness. It's going to be around the multipliers in terms of the yield and the revenue that you get from the token transactions. And then it's going to be around special game-specific resources that will be in there and under there. So that's quite exciting. So those are on the current rares. We're also, I can hint on a few things that are in the roadmap. So I hope not too many of our competitors are on here. But yeah, it's okay. We're all friends with many of the other metaverses or games. But what we're looking at doing then other collections. So look, we want to close out the sale of all of the standard NFT land plots, then focus on the sale of these super rares, the mountains and the craters. Then we're looking to do a series of 10,000 Martian avatars. So just like CryptoPunks on Mars, so having a series, doing a drop of NFTs there, we want to, again, have some way that it's going to be easier or cheaper or priority for landowners to be able to mint those. So you can imagine, as I mentioned, CryptoPunks on Mars or Bored Ape on Mars. But the cool thing is this, this is not going to just be an image of your NFT that you can flex on Twitter with. This is going to be an NFT that you can actually use that as your avatar within the game. So that character that you create, whether it's going to be an astronaut or a human, whether it's going to be an alien, whether it's going to be an android or a cyborg, whether it's going to be some hybrid, you'll be able to walk around, interact, live out your life as that avatar within the game, which is cool. And then the thing we're looking at after that is to bring additional high-value NFT elements into the game, whether that's going to be the moons of Mars. Mars has I think it has 4 moons or 3 moons. I'll have to fact check that. So there's potential there. There's also potential for big NFT objects, which could be like an oxygen factory. It's got a yield, it's got a bonding curve, it generates income. So these could be investments. Also things like orbital space stations and so on. So we're not ashamed to admit that we took inspiration from games like Star Atlas and so on, but there's just so much cool things that we can do as this game world evolves. It's really about prioritization, focusing on what do we need now, and then taking it step by step. But that's why we think there's so much scope within this game and so much complexity that can build out over the years. And the other thing, there's touching on so many topics here, but the other thing that's really cool is it's not only going to be us steering the direction of this world, right? After we complete all of the NFT sales, and after we've wrapped up all of the token sales, we're looking at starting to move the decision-making process for the Mars Metaverse transition over to a DAO. So the Mars land NFTs that are still for sale, these will be governance tokens within this virtual world. So people who have these Mars land NFTs will have a vote, and the more votes, the more land you have, the more votes you'll have in the DAO. So what it becomes is like a democracy of the landowners, like ancient Greece and ancient Rome, where the people who own the land will steer the direction of the land, and they will be able to take important decisions around, things like the direction of the game world, the rules of the game, partnerships, and alliances with other metaverse projects and so on. So yeah, so I could talk about this all day, but it's so exciting to the things that we can build with this in this world.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack here, and yeah, it sounds super exciting. Yeah, a lot of thought going into this. Very cool, very cool. Slade45, you're here.
Hi Slade, how are you doing?
Just hit your mute button. You're muted at the moment.
I'm not muted now.
Yeah, nice. Go ahead.
You had mentioned competitors, and there's a lot of games coming up and trying to create metaverses. How do you feel that's going to look in the future as more of these pop up? Is there just going to be one or two dominant ones, or do you think that there's going to be ways to hop between all these different metaverses seamlessly?
You nailed it. It's the third, right? That's the cool thing about this, because people think, oh, it should be competitive. There's other, really cool play-to-earn games or metaverses that have a head start in terms of time or critical mass. But what we think is it's going to be the last point you said, that it's going to be, a metaverse of metaverses. So if we've all probably seen here the movie Ready Player One and read the book where, you can literally hop between different metaverses. So we're already looking to do that. So I didn't mention this earlier, but some of our first private sale investors, one of our first private sale investors was an angel investment check from two of the founders of Illuvium. So they joined us as investors, and we got on so well that they joined us as advisors. So they have helped us so much in so many ways. And Illuvium just listed in Binance, I think, yesterday, by the way. So they've helped us in so many ways. In terms of the game development, connections to the Ethereum world, and so on. But yeah, so one of the things that we've discussed with them is this concept of having your monster or your character and your beasts from the Illuvium world, being able to go to a portal there, bring them into Mars, have them interact. Also for people with their Martian avatar or their alien avatar or their android avatar to come from our world into theirs. So having that connectivity between the metaverses is really, really cool, and it'll be regardless actually of what blockchain they're on or anything else. But yeah, having that interoperability and portals between the metaverses is something that it really gets us excited as well.
Awesome, thanks.
You're welcome. Great question.
Thank you very much, Slade45. All right. If anybody else has questions, yeah, please come on up. As we've had a few already, and the AMA text questions is open and available. Do have another one come in here. It sounds like this is an online game only on. What is the likelihood we could see an app or things for like iOS or yeah, any kind of like app stuff?
Well, so our view is that we want to make everything accessible through a browser. So I know other people who are building out NFT games and play-to-earn games are looking to go pure, AAA game quality, probably some downloads and some software on your machine. So we would like to keep everything in the browser as much as possible. And if we are able to keep it so lightweight, then I don't see any reason why we couldn't have Android or iOS apps. That's probably a question for further down the road, but yeah, that's something that's very cool as well. And also, it could be something around where, as I mentioned, we're going to have this huge Mars4 world. We'll have many mini games within that, so it may be that we might have an app that it won't be the full experience, but you might be able to to play specific games of the mini games within that world. Consuming your Mars dollars, earning your Mars dollars, and so on. So yeah, so that's something that we'll talk about with our gaming studio partners as well, to see how that's going to play out. But great question. Yeah, I can see some cool comments actually coming into the chat. Like, yeah, this is a project that can go on for decades and never be finished. That would be my dream, that this game could actually, this project can go on and take on a life of its own, beyond the founders. It sounds like science fiction, but I mean, we really are at the early stages of building this metaverse. Some good questions as well. NFTs of soldiers and droids, I like it. P versus P battles. So yeah, really, really good comments and questions here. And yeah, a nice flattering comment as well. This is giga brain level game development. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so we'd welcome anyone back up to the stage. Always great to hear the questions and have the conversations with the community directly. It's a good chance since we're here.
I think we've got FUD0 coming up.
Hello.
Hello there. How are you? Great name, FUD0, by the way.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks for doing this, Ethan and Tangle. I'm new to the space. I actually heard of Mars just before the Sushi Swap launch, the MISO launch, basically. And I'd been doing a bit of research and trying to figure out. Sorry if these questions were asked earlier. I have a few questions. Just to give you some background, I am coming from the Decentraland space. So the questions might get a bit technical, but just as much as you can answer. Is there going to be a DAO for governance?
Yes, yeah. So I touched on that in one of the earlier questions, but yeah, we absolutely want to move towards a DAO, and the governance token will be the Mars land. So the more land that you own, the greater vote you will have in influencing the direction of the metaverse. But yeah, we absolutely are looking to pass this over to the leadership of a DAO as soon as it's practical.
Great. Again, continuing on the DAO-based question. So I'm actually actively engaged in a lot of proposals in the Decentraland page. So what ends up happening is the whales in the Decentraland space, they have much more governing rights and votes, and the individuals who are like single landowners have almost zero voice if any proposal needs to be passed. So is there any plans of quadratic voting that Illuvium actually does for their DAO? Quadratic voting and quadratic funding, so it's not as skewed as exactly the number of tokens gives you the number of votes, so that even the regular people have equal weightage. So
thank you very much for calling this out, right? Because Illuvium, so Danny and Kieran from Illuvium are our advisors. They're on our advisory board. You can see them on our team page and our pitch deck. So we are not at the stage yet where we're going into the technicalities of how the DAO will work, but that's a great shout out. That's a great call out, because already there are some Mars land whales who have bought huge amounts of the normal land. There are some whales then who are going to be buying up the rares and the super rares like Mount Olympus. So that's something that we will need to build in. And yeah, if you could share with us any more ideas about what you've seen, how you've seen the Illuvium model work better than the Decentraland model, that would be good. So we do want to basically reward the landowners, but we don't want to make it a case where you've got this elite of 10 to 20 owners who can then just steer the direction and rock the vote, because then it's no longer a democracy, it's more like an oligarchy. So I think we will look into the Illuvium model more in due course.
So most of my questions actually come from the backdraws that are there in the existing metaverse, and I'm just trying to figure out how Mars4 is going to like make it better. So one of my other questions was, is there any kind of a restriction for the types of builds that you can deploy on your land? In reference to what I'm talking about is, so Decentraland has this casino called Decentral Games, and unfortunately, Sandbox does not allow gambling. Okay, so they cannot deploy decentral games inside of Sandbox. So will there be similar such restrictions? Like, for instance, if somebody wants to open a virtual cannabis store, in case they want to do like, so is there going to be limitations and restrictions for the types of builds that can be deployed on your land?
So this is something we have actually thought about, and because we've got so much real estate, right? We want to have areas of Mars 4 that are going to be family friendly. So probably in these places, it'll be quite restricted what you can do. But then we'll have certain districts that'll be like, the Las Vegas of Mars 4, where kind of anything goes. So yes, gambling is something that will be allowed in certain areas, and of course it'll be taxed, and it'll potentially go back to the landowners. Also, you could even have people could invest in Mars4 gaming, and then have earn extra income from their shares there from the companies. We've had all sorts of proposals as well. Maybe some I won't mention here about other activities that could be happening on Mars to service the lonely Martians and so on. But yeah, so we're open-minded about having things like gambling within our world, but it would absolutely have to be confined to separate areas, because we feel that this is a project that will capture the imaginations of all ages. So having more adult-themed areas and more family-friendly and safer areas would be good. And it could also come down to the nature of the mini games that will be played within there, because some of it, some of it might be quite simple, the settling stuff and the terraforming, again, totally family-friendly. But then you could have other games which may be quite scary or quite horror science fiction type stuff. So then they might be 15 plus or 18 plus and so on. So yeah, that's a very good question, and we believe there's enough space on Mars for to be able to have zones and areas for all different types of activities.
Okay, just two more questions. Thanks for taking the time to answer so far. The other question was, again, the same problem with Decentraland. You enter into the space, people own land, but it's bloody empty. It's deserted. Nobody has, like, the regular people do not have skills to deploy 3D assets on a parcel, especially based on the specifications and the upload limits, lighting, texture, all the technicalities, So will there be like prefabricated assets that people can directly drag and drop and deploy, like a gallery or something of that sort, where they can display their NFTs? So something that it quickly populates your terrain, as opposed to being like how currently Mars is, like just a deserted land. So just to make sure that anybody who buys land does not require technical 3D skills to like deploy assets, and they can still generate some sort of an engagement, interaction, or community meetups based on like so for instance, if I need to deploy something on my land, and if I need to have a web conference or a Skype conference, I need to get into the SDK and start coding how to get in live streams, and like a lot of technical stuff is required. So will it be like an easier thing? I mean, is it in consideration to create like prefabricated assets, so it'll be easier for everyone to like deploy assets on the terrain?
Again, these are brilliant questions. So so for the first way of development that we're looking at it, like this Fallout Shelter type style of thing, it's going to be about terraforming. So there probably is going to be prefabricated structures in terms of biodomes where you can exist and have your oxygen and so on, and that, and livable little shelters, your little survival hut, whatever, which will have communications equipment and so on built in. But yeah, you're coming up with fantastic questions there, because there's a balance, right? So yes, we want some basic fundamental stuff to be there, so it's not just going to be totally barren, people standing there just communicating with text in the middle of an empty desert. But we do want to allow that creativity in there, like they have in Decentraland, where these experts, these architects, can build really beautiful things. So I think there's a fine line to thread there, and we'll definitely be listening to members of the community like yourself who have experience from many different metaverses, because you've basically seen what works, what doesn't. So this type of feedback is absolutely music to our ears, and I'd love to be able to record it somehow. Well, we will have the recording of this, but yeah, we'll definitely be discussing your comments internally.
Oh, a pleasure for all the inputs. Just last question was regarding how much is the emphasis going to be on games and mini games that are deployed? Like generally games have very little shelf life, so there'll need to be quick turnarounds before people start losing interest, or till it's like built up. So I'm just trying to figure out how is have you guys thought about how the economy is going to be planned in terms of games or businesses, or like any thoughts in those lines? That's my last question.
Yeah, so it's not going to be like an Axie Infinity where it's just one game and that's it. It's going to be much more like a blend between, let's say, a Decentraland and an Illuvium. And there will be certain parts of the game economy that are going to be always be there in terms of the mining and the resource and the trading. But then we plan to open that up so people have, genuine reasons to trade and communicate beyond the games. Also, we're of the philosophy that many games can coexist within the same ecosystem and environment, and it will be evolutionary. Some of those will attract the Mars dollars and the transaction fees, and those are the ones that we will build on because they'll be helping us grow the community. Others may die off naturally. So that's why I think it's important that we create an ecosystem for these things to happen, and that's also why I think it's important that the DAO is involved. So that we as a community are deciding on the direction of the economy. So I think games are an important part, but they're not the be all and end all. And as you said, look, we are trying to build a virtual world with a virtual economy where people can earn real value, whether that's the scholars and the whales model like Yield Guild Games does in Axie and other places, or whether it's more like a more sophisticated Decentraland where people are having real value, like you mentioned, the cannabis shops or things like that. So yeah, I think it'll be a measured step-by-step approach, and also probably a bit of an evolutionary approach where whatever is driving the user growth and the income and the increase of transaction fees, well, that will be supported because it's benefiting the landowners basically of Mars. They will benefit by the more activity and the more people that are coming there because it's increasing their income.
Thanks a lot, Ethan. I'm super bullish now with all the clarity that's been added. Thanks for your time. I'll just sign off.
No, and thank you for the questions, and we appreciate members like you, community members, who help us to shape the vision. And more power to you. Thank you.
Hey, awesome. Thank you very much, FUD0. That's a lot of good stuff there. We do have Mr. Tixel, I want to say it's, if giving you an invite to pop up here. You've seen your hand up here for a while. Let's see if that's working. Mr. Tixel.
Mr. Tixel, I recognize that name. This would be one of our earliest investors and supporters. So very honored to speak to this gentleman in person. Hopefully you can make it up, Mr. Tixel.
Mr. Tixel. Is this, maybe not. Try again here if you can. Yeah, hopefully it works again. Just like I say, just try and ask again. Mr. Tixel will try get you up here. Just going through the I guess some of the text questions. With let's see if there's anything here that with the app and everything, and then with the quadrilateral voting. You've kind of touched a little bit on like how you earn from having land on Mars, just like the yield generation and all those kind of things. But Mr. Tixel, I
see a good question. Oh,
Mr. Tixel. If you can, there should be like a green button up at the top, like a banner that says speak, or another button that's going to bring you right up onto stage to accept this request. Just hunt around and we should be able to get you up here shortly. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Ethan, you were going to say.
Yeah, I just mentioned there's some comments there around the epochs. So there's different epochs around the Mars land. So I can touch briefly on that we're looking to build something into the Mars land, which is called a bonding curve, which is, again, this is one of the ideas that was brought to us by our advisors and investors, and it's absolutely fantastic. So basically it's something around where as more Mars land is sold and there is fewer left, the prices increase. The price increases all the time, and the rewards also then increase for the earlier holders. So it's another incentive to encourage people to buy the land and to hold the land and not sell it, and moreover promote other people to buy it, because the more people that are buying in there, the higher that goes. Again, I won't go into detail on that now. It's spelled out on the site, but it's another quite interesting mechanic that's being built in there. See, we have Mr. Tixel with us.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you bet.
Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
glad that worked.
Thanks for taking the call. Sorry about that.
What was the, if you don't mind, just share with us, like, what, if there was like a trick or a complication or something to get up here, just so that we, because I do.
No, when I clicked the button, it made me re-download the Discord again.
Oh, shoot. Dang. Okay, all
something.
good. Carry on.
All right. Well, thanks for taking my question. So I guess, most people in this group probably have either participated in the community sale or they've also owned some land. So I guess, can you share with us what the roadmap looks like for the next week or two, such as when the token generation event's going to occur, and also when we can start swapping lands in the marketplace?
Definitely. Well, Mr. Tixel, it's an honor to finally meet you as a significant Mars land owner and community leader from the early days. So very honored to have you on board.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's an exciting time right now. As I was mentioning earlier, the public sale of MISO exceeded all our expectations. The private sale really accelerated towards the end. And now I was touching on the NFT sale, so we're going through these various epochs of building those out. So I'm not sure if I have all the answers here, because now it's really just the dust is settling on the sale on MISO, which ended just recently. As next step, we're moving forward with Onsen and then going on to SushiSwap itself. So those discussions are happening in parallel. We're also going to launch after this process with MISO, and the SushiSwap organization is complete. We're going to be launching on other launch pads, and then we do have several of the big exchanges lined up as well. So we don't have exact dates, but things are moving quite well and in due course there. So then the other part around the NFTs. So we're not sure at what stage now that we're going to make them tradable. So we've just begun moving into these epochs for the NFT economy. So we've just completed Epoch 0, where we sold over half of them, and the most recent price was $350. Now we've moved into Epoch 1, where the price is $578. So depending on how fast this goes, we should be having these NFTs completely unlocked and then available to sell on the marketplaces, to trade individually, and so on. So yes, so again, I don't have dates on that, but likely within the next couple of months, within Q4, and certainly before the end of this year.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for taking my questions.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Tixel. Yeah, we've covered a ton here today. If we've got any final questions, we're getting close to an hour here. If there's any final questions, please raise your hand and get up here. Do appreciate everyone that has reached out and made an appearance on stage. And is there any, going through text questions? They were just talking about getting their hands on the token. Yeah, we've talked.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think what's the best advice to give people. Yes, because unfortunately MISO is just closed. The NFT land sales have just reopened, so we closed those. We closed the land sales during the MISO launch, so we could focus on the token sale and so on. I would say that the best thing to do is to stay in touch in our Discord and on our Telegram groups. We have Telegram groups for all various different regions on the earth. And so as I mentioned, we're eventually going to be, the token will be tradable soon on SushiSwap. We're also looking to launch on some other launch pads. And then we're talking to some of the big centralized exchanges as well. So I would say to stay in touch on the Telegram, the Mars4 Telegram group, the Mars4 Discord group, and there will be instructions of when is the next place to get involved.
Yeah, and on that note here, just as we wrap up, maybe let's, if you can plug again in the AMA text questions and on here, website, social, how do they find you or find, all of that. If we can drop some links. 'Cause all that stuff is on the website, I think. You can get all the links.
We're all on the website, and we should drop the links, especially to the Discord for our Discord users here. So I'll see if I can do that as we speak.
So
yeah.
I think we'd gone through this before or earlier here. So Mars4, MARS4, the number, .me. So Mars, the number 4.me. That is the way to get to the website, I believe. And yeah, from there, of course, you can find the direct links to Telegram, Twitter, and Discord. And if, hopefully in the AMA text questions here, we can pop that in there. And yeah, I see a couple people typing. That's perfect. But yeah. Oh, Discord link is invalid. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it must be an expired link. Bummer. Okay, well, let's, if you can, just drop one in here, maybe later on, or if you've got a fresh one that you're able to drop in here is great. And you may want to just change I know you don't want to, it's not always great to keep the links for a long time they should expire, otherwise it is.
I'll mention that to my marketing team. They should be listening to this. So guys, please drop the Discord links here, and please update it on the website. And I think that's absolutely how we do it. So let's we can create a new invite link and drop it in here. Yeah, so that's exactly what we'll do.
Yeah, perfect.
And otherwise, please check out our NFT sales. So having that Mars land is going to be crucial for having the vote in the DAO, for earning those yields and so on. Also, the price is stepping up. Each time we enter a new epoch, the price is increasing. So highly recommended to get your hands on some Mars land. For the next availability to buy the token, on the Discord, on the Telegram. And otherwise, I'll just wrap up by saying, thank you all for the support. Thank you all for the questions, especially those who came onto the stage. Love speaking to the community. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this project. I could talk about this all day. And a huge thank you again to Tangle and the MISO and the Sushi organization. They've been an amazing partner, and I couldn't recommend this more highly to other projects, other founders who are out there. I think this is one of the premier launch pads out there. So thank you again, Tangle, and thank you for organizing this and briefing me and everything else. It's been a fantastic event.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, and great engagement today. Exciting times ahead for Mars. I don't have to get on a spaceship anymore. This is perfect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so this has been recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. You can check that out on the Sushi Official YouTube channel. And of course, anybody that's been in the room for 15 minutes or more, you have been logged. It looks like everything's logging nicely here. I've got 375 records, so that's should be good. Everyone should be captured.
Great.
And at that point, you can head over to the Get POAP channel, just underneath the sushi bar category. And in there, I'll open the channel up in about 20-30 minutes. Once everything is synchronized, maybe a little bit later, we'll see how this all works out, just because we do have another event later today. But you have 30 days to claim your POAP. That'll be ready to go for you. Just go into the Get POAP channel, type !claim, and you will be able to get your unique POAP that is unique to your Discord ID. So there's no rush. You're not here you don't need to ape into this or anything. But that's great there. And of course, follow me on Twitter, 0xtangle. And there's the Sesh as well, Sesh updates for the calendar. So head up to the calendar channel, and any events, I'm trying to stay up to date with that so that Discord can send you a DM through Sesh. Again, thank you very much, Ethan. Thank you, everyone that came out for this event. And go check out Mars.
See you on Mars, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.